Hello and welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today we're going to be talking about the passive treble bass control circuit that I have explored a little bit on the channel before. Today we're going to take a deeper dive. I love covering this topic because I think it's one of the least expensive mods you can make to a guitar that has two-tone controls on it, and you can convert it into a very powerful tonal shaping tool in your hands for both studio and stage. So we're going to be installing the circuit on this particular guitar today. We're going to begin by just taking a listen to the guitar as it sits. Right now, this tone control controls the neck pickup. This tone control controls the middle pickup. I have it 50s style, and I'll pop up a quick schematic of that right now, which means that it doesn't do that blanket style, just raw treble roll off. It's a little bit more nuanced. However, it is a bit too nuanced because it doesn't really do much. All right. We're going to take a quick listen to all three pickups. The bridge, of course, has no tone control on it whatsoever, a la the original design. All right, let's take a quick listen to the neck pickup. All right, we're rolling back that tone now. All right, so you see there's not a whole lot happening there. And we'll find pretty much the same scenario on the middle pickup. Rolling it off. All right, and let's listen to the bridge just for fun. When we do install the new circuit layout, the bridge pickup will be affected because the PTB circuit, the passive treble bass circuit, is global. All right, let's listen to the bridge. All right, so we are going to be moving on to the workbench now. I'm going to go ahead and break down the guitar off camera, get everything prepped and ready, and then I'll film as I solder in the new components with the schematic up, and I'll put, little indicators to show what I am working on at the moment, just to kind of illustrate how easy this really is. All right, I'll see you at the bench. All right, so here we are. I'll be putting up a picture of what this looked like before I desoldered everything to prepare it for the circuit modification. And then once that has come and gone, which it has by now, we will put up the schematic that we'll be following to go ahead and do this modification. I have everything prepped. It's very, very easy. Basically what I had to do was, you disconnect your lead from your switch. You go ahead and you just undo a couple connections on your tone controls, and then we're ready to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and start soldering some things in and just go step by step. So we're going to start with the hot wire from our switch here, and that's going to go to our middle lug on our treble control, and didn't have to modify the treble control as far as the capacitor at all. It can just stay right where it is, and we're ready to go. All right, so we're going to put this into the middle lug, which already has a lead coming out of it that will be going to our bass control. So right now, I'm going to solder in the switch to the middle lug of our treble control. And we're done. Treble control is wired. I now have a lead, and pardon me, I am a little bit under the weather today, so pardon me if I'm going to be clearing my throat and things like that. The earlier video that you just watched was fraught because I kept losing my voice. So hopefully I won't lose my voice during this one because I can't do a redo on this one. All right, so what I've done here is now I have a wire going from my treble control to my bass control. Now we need to go ahead and prep our 0.0022 capacitor. That's going to be our capacitor for our bass control. And quite simply, that goes on lugs 1 and 2. And on that lug number 2, we are going to have one leg of the capacitor and the wire coming from our treble control. Alright, hopefully we can get that. There we go. Got that poked through. We're going to go ahead, whoops, and get our capacitor in, one leg of it at least, right there. That is good to go. And we will solder that connection and be done with the middle lug here. Let's make sure that all took. I'm actually going to reheat that and scoot it back out just a hair. There we go. I want to have a little flexibility with that if I need to move it around. Okay, so we have our treble control already wired. We now have half of our bass control wired. Super simple. And now we're going to have our output from the bass control that's going to be going to our volume control. And we're almost done already. That's how easy this mod is. If you have a Les Paul style guitar, you can do the same thing by having your go ahead and wire your pickups to your volume controls, then to your switch, and then have the output of the switch run through a treble and a bass control. So do the same thing you do on a Strat here. With guitars that only have one treble control built in, you would have to do further modification to do this. Alright, let's go ahead and get this capacitor wired in, or soldered in, I should say. Whoops. I lost my output wire. It's alright. We'll just open it back up. Right back in there. No problems. And then go ahead and get that capacitor soldered back on. Okay. Should have turned my fan on. Sucking in the solder fumes today. Alright, so we have that all set. Now we're just going to bring that output from the bass control. And like I said, I'll be putting up the schematic with some little, wire with some little indicators and stuff to show you what's happening. But really, unless you're wiring a guitar from scratch, this is just so easy to do. If I could, there we go. Just want to make sure that's got a really good connection there. And that's it. I'm done. So, modifying an existing Stratocaster circuit is super simple. Using the schematic, you can do this on any guitar, like I said, that has more than 2 knobs on it. If it does not have more than 2 knobs, you would have to go ahead and install a third potentiometer somewhere, either by routing out the body cavity or modifying the pickup. But there you have it. That took roughly 4 minutes, I think. I did have to do the prep work of unsoldering some things and stuff like that, but that's it. It's that easy. And now let's take a listen to our result. So here we are, all finished, and I'm just going to do the same basic demonstration that I did at the beginning of the video to show what the treble cut and the bass cut do. And then you can decide whether or not this mod is something that you want to do to one of your instruments. I hope you do, because it's going to, you'll hear the difference right away. All right, let's start on the neck pickup with everything up. All right, let's do the treble roll first. Let's go to about halfway. And then roll the treble all the way off. And that's kind of what you'd expect. There's a little bit better range in this arrangement, I think, with the treble. But the real magic in my mind happens with the bass cut on the neck pickup. So let's listen to the neck pickup again. Now I'm going to cut some of that bass. Cut it all the way. And then we bring it back in. And what I like to do is just roll it back a little bit. And you really hear it on those single notes. What happens is by rolling a little bit of the bass frequency off of your neck pickup or any pickup that you think, you know, like when you're playing single notes or chords, could use just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more focus, a little bit more cut through the mix. Having that bass cut right there is incredible. All right. Middle pickup's going to perform as expected. I'm going to skip that one, but we'll go to the bridge, which had nothing on it before. So now we've got our bridge pickup wide open. Kind of harsh, maybe a little brittle. You roll back that treble a little bit. Even a little further. And when you're using high gain and things like that, rolling back, having this type of treble bleed, really, you know, it's got a bigger range in my opinion, and I feel like it has, you know, a lot more usable frequency response than your typical treble control. Now, the bass cut on the bridge pickup can turn into something that's almost like an effect. Let's go ahead and just roll that all the way off and we'll take a listen. You're getting into Telecaster territory there. And that's kind of what I like about having that bass cut, even on the bridge pickup, is that you can kind of get tele sounds, depending on what kind of pedals and amp that you're using. So anyway, I just wanted to do my final video on this subject. I know that I have covered this a couple times before. I promise you I will not bother you all with this again, but I really do think that the fact that it costs the, you know, amount of a capacitor or two, some wire and solder, you know, you're looking at, you know, like $5 to do this mod. It really enhances the usability and the tonal capabilities of your instrument. I highly recommend it. I won't preach it anymore. So if you made it this far into the video, a like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Leave something in the comments if you've tried this mod or you have a strong opinion about it. Likes and shares. And as always, take care, hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.